Alright, so currently this has been our makeshift setup for rabbit breeding. It's not the most beautiful thing to look at. Very effective. If I can see some of our effectiveness right here, if I can get her in the frame. Hey, cute bitty. Yep, old mama there's had, I don't know, about 14 in the last couple of months. She's a great mom. We've been discussing upgrading our rabbit facilities and our production, and maybe getting them more into the actual farming of meat rabbits. So we had an opportunity yesterday to go to a very dear friend of ours who is getting out of the rabbit business, and made us a spectacular deal to take over her small herd. So we've got the big buck here, and then we picked up the black doe, I think is New Zealand. We've got a mama doe here with the baby of the buck you just saw. They are New Zealand. She is New Zealand Flemish Giant mix. This young lady is a New Zealand. Thank you for the camera posing. That was beautiful. And this little buck is off of the other buck at the end, and the mother with the daughter pair you just saw. So right now this is it. We've got the line cage. There's nothing to it but the dividers and the feeder sections. It's very just a pin right now. So we've got to be able to do something to get it more secure. I've got it setting on PVC stands that we are actually going to use in the greenhouse. So we're eventually going to put a full rabbit colony out here. And I think what we're going to attempt is to take this here. Now all this old framing mesh, I was commissioned about a year ago to take apart an old playground. You've seen the plastic pieces that we've used on all the huts for rooftops and sides and stuff. All that came from this big playground. It originally was at a McDonald's and ended up at a secondary location until it was shot, and then they contracted me to take it apart. I salvaged it. It's been in my possession well over a year now. I'm not knowing exactly what I was going to do with it, but I thought it was going to be useful. Today we're going to find out if I'm right. I'm going to take this section right over here on the back of where we're going to put the rabbit hat, and we're going to see if we can't make a suspension unit to hang these pins for and allow us to expand our rabbit breeding capabilities. So I'll keep you posted with some shots as we go along. Typical build style stuff. Stay with us. Let's see how cheap we can do this project. So what we've got so far, I've sourced out a couple of these pieces with the mesh it's still on for the sides. They both have pieces already in place, feet and a 90-degree elbow, so we can cross to the other one. What I'm trying to do right now is determine with the long poles, they need to be at least 10 feet. And I've got a piece here with a joiner on it that makes it about 11 in all, which is going to be perfect. Problem is, it's the only one I've got with a joiner. But I've got some more pieces of joiners. The big question is, can I get them off of these pipes? Because they have been there for years and years and years, and the corrosion is just ridiculous. But that's going to be my next step, to try to get that and try to create at least one for the bottom, because this will actually stand up this way, and one on the bottom of the back, and at least two on here. And I can maybe do something separate on the front to kind of secure it up. I've got quite a bit of metal piping to put together to give it structural integrity. But if we can get that with the sides covered with the mesh, then all we got to do is put some kind of barricade across the back to keep predators out of this section, and we will suspend the metal cage off the ground, and maybe even have room for a couple of the bigger cages that are on my truck, and I'll show you them in a minute. But it's kind of what we're thinking right now, and we'll go from there. Well, this is what we got right now. I got the two sides standing up. They will actually be the back sides. What you're looking at down there is the bottom back, as this whole unit, like I said, will stand up like that. Got it connected. We managed to make another long one. Turns out, if you take the little round foot that was on here off, there's a pipe in the middle for joining that foot, and that makes a great union for the bottoms. We'll do the same thing on the top. Front down here on the floor, which is open. That one will have one of these pieces on it to secure it, because it will have weight suspended from the front of it. We didn't do that on the back because it's simply going to be sitting on the ground. So almost got a box frame built, sort of. So down here on the bottom of this one, this unit was actually oriented so that this was this way and the top pipe was cooked here, so it was turned. So we just broke it apart and turned it to orient toward that one, which doesn't have a fitting on it at all. We will have to find one somewhere in here and put one on there so that we can join another bar across the bottom. And as soon as I find my heavy duty Allen wrench, which apparently I have lost, we'll get this one tightened up and move on, and I'll show you the next step of the game. Now, where's that thing go? You see any chicken? You find my wrench? No? Okay. Hey, have mercy. I think we got the frame boxed in. It's not too shabby. Next step, we're gonna be trying to get this heavy thing stood up on end, knowing that all this heavy grade playground steel is not light in any shape of the imagination. But we're gonna get it stood up. We'll test it out real good, make sure I didn't miss any nuts or bolts or anything in the tightening. And then we'll go take the old bunny pin and we'll work on figuring out how to suspend it next once we get everything secure. I'll show you that in a second. Well, it is standing up, and it is so very, very tall. But we are actually, almost fell. Let me start over. We are actually going to make this tall thing work, because we're going to be able to put a tarp over it for weather protection, and have some adjustability to do a few things with it. We'll figure that out in a little bit. Next step's going to be to get the cages over here and supported so we can start working on suspending them from the top. All right, while you were gone, you weren't really gone, y'all were right there, and the camera just went fade to black and come back in. But while I did that, my wife and I brought the plastic stands over that we're using in the greenhouses, if we ever get that built. And we've got the bunny cage across the top of that. I've also got the hangers on the top rails. And I think for now we're just going to hang all the way across. And then when we get our second set of these, we'll wire them together and re-string them at that time to hang them side by side. But this is still not quite as high as I want them. I want them right about here on the bottom so that you're reaching right in. So I've got these two milk crates. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift this straight up, slide these milk crates under it, set them back on it, check our height. As soon as that works, we will start hanging some chain and wire from the hangers, connecting them to the baskets, and then we can pull everything out. So that's what we got coming up. And now next is over, and this is what we got. So yeah, that's about a perfect height. I'm reaching almost straight out, just comfortable from the bottom to the top. That's gonna be perfect. Now all we got to do is get it suspended, and And that will leave us room on the back of this for another set of cages. That will give us area underneath to catch and reuse all the droppings, either by putting some kind of tub system down there, or just a tarp, or just letting it get on the ground and shoveling it up. Either way, it's you can't really go wrong with harvesting rabbit when they're. We'll just figure out what works best. All right, I'm gonna get up that ladder and get to hanging some chain. Well, we have managed to pull it off. I thought we were going to need a lot more chain to secure this, but turned out the lengths that we had, I've seen them hung just directly from the cage, using the rigidity and the strength of the build itself to support it. I'm not a huge fan of that. Anytime I'm suspending something, if I can get the strap, or in this case chain, completely underneath, I'm always going to go that route. So that's what we managed to do. The reason they're a little bit offset, we leveled the pin up with a 2-foot level by adjusting the placement of the chain once we had it suspended. And that's going to suffice for now. It's a little cockeyed. But we've got another couple of sets of these cages that are in kind of bad shape, that need to be rebuilt. So I'm gonna go pick them up later this week, and I will combine them to make one good set to mimic this. And what we're gonna do is mount it on the back side and use this suspension system plus a couple of loose straps from the rear post there, and we'll have cages facing both directions, back to back, suspended in here. And that's going to be our primary breeding grounds from here on out. And then we will eventually build the habitat around it. And once we get all that built out here, we get all our junk cleaned up that we've got everywhere, we will be able to control the breeding, monitor when the does are bred about a week ahead of due date. They can go back into their nursing pens with the nurse boxes. Stay there until the babies are weaned, and then come back to the ground, and we can control the outflow of newborns and where they need to go if we're raising them to full term, 6 months maximum weight. If they're going to go 3 months for more tender meats, whatever it is that a potential customer wants or orders, will dictate a lot of that moving ahead. But this is going to be our big push at becoming self-sufficient on a financial basis. And I know I said we were going to focus on being frugal. Well, earning enough to pay your bills and to buy the things that you can't grow, that's all part of that. And we're doing it as cheaply as possible. I'm not going to say how much I've got into this one. I can tell you, the friend that sold us this part of the outfit and the expansion of the livestock here was very kind to us in her pricing. Like I said, the framework and everything was free. The chain came off of another project that never materialized. I went a different route, so it was already laying around. So I don't have a whole lot out of pocket on this deal either, and for what it offers us moving forward, it was very, very, very well worth it, very budget friendly. And there's actually some more stuff that came along with it but we don't have up yet, but it's been a long day, and I think it's about time to get a shower and spend some time with my wife, because you can only spend so much time with rabbits. They don't love you back. She does. So till next time, come out.